Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the stream here this afternoon on Rock and Roll Rugby, where today the Cardiff Blues welcome the Dragons in a fierce South Wales derby down at the Cardiff Arms Park. Both sides in this competition have varying fortunes. We'll have a little look at their results from round one and have a look at the table as it stands as well. Let's have a little look at the Dragons to start off the away side. Okay, so last time out, they had a fantastic afternoon of rugby down at Rodney Parade, where they beat the Scarlets quite comfortably by 52 points to 32. And if we have a little look there at the table, that means that the Dragons sitting quite pretty at the moment, up in third position, whereas the Blues sit all the way down in 12th, having that heavy loss against the Ospreys. So let's have a little look at the results, like I just mentioned, from round one. So from round one, we have, let's look at the Dragons result and the Blues. So the Blues lost by 36 points to 14 against the Ospreys down at the Liberty Stadium in what was a really torrid afternoon for the Blues, where they really struggled to get any sort of hands on ball. The Dragons, in retrospect, though, with lots of ball in hand, lots of time with the ball alive, and they ran out winners by 52 points to 32 in a thrilling game down at Rodney Parade. But that is then, and this is now. So, looking at last night's results and what it means going into today, obviously we've looked. Benetton picking up a win against Zebra on Friday night. Munster with a heavy win against Ulster by 38 points to 10. Glasgow getting one up over their Scottish rivals Edinburgh. Leinster coming back to thump Connacht last night in Galway by 50 points to 21. And of course, the Scarlets picking up a precious win against the Ospreys by 22 points to 6. But we are at the moment now where we're going to have a little look at the sides that are taking part in this game, this afternoon. So we'll start with the away side in the Dragons. A few changes for the Dragons, and we'll just go through them quickly now. So at loose head, we have Josh Reynolds. At hooker, Taylor Davis, who had a really good game against the Scarlets last time out. And Leon Brown is welcomed back into the front row from a gap due to international duties. In the locks, Joe Davis and potential Cardiff Blue next season, Matthew Screech. In the back row, what a back row this is. Ross Moriarty, captain, Tane Basham, and Aaron Wainwright. A lot of people saying that could potentially be the Welsh back row for the Welsh series of tests on Welsh soil, but a very exciting back row. In the halfbacks, we have Butrino and Sam Davis. Now, Butrino has really started to speed up the Dragons' pace of play as of recent weeks, and Sam Davis working alongside him. His distribution to the backs has been key. In the centres, Jamie Roberts, former Blue, lines up with the very young and very talented Aneurin Owen, which makes a back three then of Rio Dyer, Jonah Holmes, and Johan Davis. Jonah Holmes and Rio Dyer both having very good games last time out. That leaves a bench of Rhys Lawrence, Greg Bateman, Chris Coleman, Ben Carter, Harrison Keddy back in the side again, Dan Babos, Josh Lewis, and Jack Dixon, who recently signed a new contract with the club. A nice mix there of youngsters and some of the more experienced heads. Nice to see Jamie Roberts coming back into the lineup for this one. Also, that back row, Wainwright, Tane Basham, and Moriarty. That is a really exciting back row and one that will put the Blues under a lot of pressure today. But the Blues, thankfully, have gone with a stronger squad to reflect the performance that the Dragons put out last time around. And actually, at the moment, looking at results, one of the strongest regions in Wales, winning the 3 of their last 4 games. But the Blues side line up just like this. So, in the backfield, we have Hallam Amos at fullback with Owen Lane and Max Llewellyn in the centres. Loving the look of that centre partnership, and especially after the last game out. I think Owen Lane at 13 could be something that we see a lot more of in months to come. On the wings, that leaves Jason Harries and recently announced British and Irish Lion, Josh Adams. Really excited to see how he goes today and what is a lovely afternoon at the Arms Park. Young halfback pairing of Ben Thomas and Jamie Hill. Jamie Hill playing okay last time against the Ospreys, but it's time for him to start to put his name forward as the reserve scrum half for the Cardiff Blues behind Thomas Williams. In the front row, we've got Rhys Carey, Kirby Myhill as captain, and Dylan Lewis. 2 internationals there in Rhys Carey and Dylan Lewis, who will look to try and get some assertiveness up front. Leaving a second row partnership of Seb Davis and Corey Hill. masses of experience in that second row. And Corey Hill will know exactly what these Dragons will bring this afternoon. Leaving a back row then of Josh Turnbull at 6, Ollie Robinson and Sam Moore returning from injury to take his place at 8. It's a big game, you feel, for Sam Moore, as injuries really have plagued his time at the Cardiff Blues, and it's time that he really started to put some performances together, as the Blues really are missing a punchy number 8. On the bench then, that sees Christian Dacey come back into the side, Brad Thayer, Will Davis-King, Teddy Williams had a good run out last time against the Ospreys. James Ratty, interestingly, played back row, played number 8 last time that they played, and I think he played really well there. So interesting to see if he'll come on at number 8 or whether he will take his place in the second row. Ellis Bevan as a scrum half replacement, and then the 2 Welsh boys, Jared Evans and Willis Halaholo, making up the remainder of that bench. And if this game starts to open up in the last quarter, you just mouth-wateringly excited at what Jared Evans and Halaholo can bring off the bench. But those are the teams for this afternoon. We are but a few minutes away from kickoff. So for me, I see this one going one of 2 ways. I think if the Blues keep the ball in hand, they could cause the Dragons a lot of problems. And they try and avoid this arm wrestle with the Dragons pack, because they've got a very strong, very powerful pack, and one that will give the Blues a lot of problems if they don't give them the respect they deserve. Or if the Blues continue to kick the ball in the way that they did, we saw last time out with the likes of Rio Dyer, Jonah Holmes on the pitch, the Dragons will attack and the Dragons will take every opportunity that is given to them. History will play its part, though, I feel. The Blues haven't lost at the Cardiff Arms Park against the Dragons since 2014. And with the likes of Josh Adams back in that team, I think the Blues really have shown respect to the way that these Dragons have been playing lately. And Dai Young rewarding some youngsters with a potential start 2 games on the bounce, even though they didn't play that well last time out. I see the Blues winning this one by 7 to 10 points, but it'll be very close up until the last quarter, and I think the differences will be the bench. The players coming off the bench for the Blues, I think, could really, really make a difference to a tiring Dragons team. But thank you very much for joining on the stream. This is just a watch-along. Unfortunately, I am unable to show the game due to copywriting, but I will be giving a rundown of the commentary as the game progresses, talking about some of the key matchups and also dropping a little bit of news in little breaks in play as well. But thank you very much for joining. If you are joining from Facebook, please make sure to like and follow the page. Followers are growing day by day now, guys. So as soon as anything new comes out, it'll be on Facebook as well as over on YouTube. And if you are joining from YouTube, please make sure to like this stream and to subscribe to the page. It's free to do so, and it is helping this rugby community grow in the weeks that have gone by. We're just over a month in now, and things are growing really, really nicely, but we've got some exciting things to come, and I can't wait to share them all with you, both current subscribers and future subscribers that'll come across to the channel. Let's have a look who's in the comments then. Brandon, excited for this one. Should be a good game. I think it will be a very, very good game. 2 very strong sides. Nice dry afternoon down in Cardiff, so fingers crossed we get a decent bit of running rugby. And yes, battle of the back row would be key. I would say the Dragons have the upper hand here. Considering for me, mate, that this back row is probably my Welsh back row going into the summer tests. There's a couple of other boys that Wayne Pivac will probably want to look at. But if you're looking at consistency, those 3 have played really well together all year, especially towards the tail end of the season. I think that back row were head and shoulders above some of the other back rowers here in Wales. But interestingly, let's have a little look quick back at this Blues team just to talk about the man wearing the number 11 jersey today. A few years ago, playing down in the 3rd division of English rugby, having not been offered a contract at the Scarlets, he was then picked up by Worcester Warriors. And now, a few years later down the line, he's at the Cardiff Blues, and he has just been named in the British and Irish Lions squad to tour South Africa. Extremely pleased for Josh, thoroughly deserving of his place, if you ask me, and he would have been one of my shoo-ins when the squad was announced. So massive congratulations to him, and let's hope that he has a good game this afternoon, because if we look back across the weekend, of just catching up on some news this weekend, Anthony Watson, selected in the Lions, scored a brace of tries yesterday for Bath. Sam Simmons gets his call up to the Lions, brace of tries for Exeter. Louis Rees-Zammit picking up 2 tries for Gloucester, sorry. So these Lions boys really putting their hands up now and saying, this is why I've been selected. But very interesting to see how he goes this afternoon alongside a more promising backline. So excited for the game. Helen, I'd be very surprised if you were watching this one because it's on Premier Sport. And unless you were stupid enough, as I am, to pay, $11.99 a month for this wonderful service that Premier Sport provide, I very much doubt you're watching this one this afternoon. But thank you very much for the comment anyway. And it's pleasing to know that you are down in the chat. But here come the Dragons in their grey and pink. Probably my favourite of the three kits, if I'm being honest. And they will be playing from right to left in this first half. Good to see Ross Moriarty leading this side out this afternoon. Really powerful ball carrier. And I think last time out against the Scarlets, he showed a versatility to his game. Him and Aaron Wainwright worked really well in partnership with each other. But here come the Cardiff Blues in their traditional light and dark blue strip. Kirby Myhill, interestingly selected as captain today, even though Josh Turnbull is on the field. But I'm sure that Kirby will do a fantastic job of captaining the boys this afternoon. Lovely looking afternoon. A little bit breezy, but I'm sure that that will not deter the boys from the way that they play. So Mike Adamson, the Scottish referee, will take charge of this one. Not had the most glowing reviews in recent times, but I think so much so the standard of refereeing in the Pro 14, I don't think there's many referees that we hear nowadays well thought of other than, Nigel Owens and similar sort of standard referees. But here we go. Ben Thomas to get us underway here in the sunshine on the resurfaced Cardiff Arms Park. And we are underway, a deep kick down into the 22 that is collected by Aaron Wainwright, and he looks to take the ball into contact and is brought down by Sam Moore. Boutrineau looks to set up a pot of forwards out to his right, and a penalty straight away given to the Dragons. Sam Moore not rolling away there, so an easy exit for the Dragons straight away here, and a chance for them to build nicely into the game. Lovely clearance off the left boot and takes play just up to around the halfway line. Interesting to watch out for Sam Davis this afternoon because he's almost become sort of an under-the-radar player at the moment, just going about his business quietly down at the Dragons, and all the talk around Jared Evans and around Callum Sheedy for the Welsh number 10 jersey. But I think he's playing some really nice rugby at the minute. He's got a good standard to his kicking, and I think that could really control a game. So the Blues will have to watch out for that. Dragons set up them all on the halfway line here. The Blues have got a good counter going here and have disrupted the formation of that maul. But Ross Moriarty comes away from it. Dylan Lewis looked to get over the ball there, but takes a knee just as he had his hands on the ball. Matthew Screech the next to carry, and Ollie Robinson is in on that ball, and he has turned it over, and the Blues come away with it through Ben Thomas. Puts the ball to boot, and Jamie Hill is chasing this one up the wing. Rio Dyer does well to get back to that, though. Moriarty with excellent cover, and he has helped mop that up. Now, the Dragons look to launch a counter-attack. Jamie Roberts taking the ball into contact, looked outside him, but there weren't many options around him. Boutrineau passes deep, and Sam Davis off that left boot gets a nice clearing kick, which takes play just up to their own 10-metre line. So good to see the Blues counter in there. Lovely little opportunity down the right-hand side. Bunched up quite quickly, though. It was a good rip there from Ollie Robinson. He was in very, very quickly on that there and had hands on the ball before the ruck had formed and managed to get the Blues some go-forward ball. But Kirby Myhill, Rhys Carey comes across and orders the call. And the line-out is just set up outside the 10-metre line. Corey Hill claims it down at the front, and the Blues are quick to set up their driving maul. Very short maul, you must say. Joe Davis again, his arms across there, but a few more Blues come in to secure that ball as Jamie Hill looks to get his hands on it and to launch this first Blues attack. Joe Davis has not changed his bind there, so I think the referee will let him stay there, and I think he has won that ball. So Boutrineau looking for the forwards outside him, goes behind them to Sam Davis, and in turn Jimmy Roberts and Aaron Owen eyeing up his options. Well tackled by Max Llewellyn, and he's back up on his feet, causing a nuisance at the breakdown. Lovely run there by Josh Reynolds as he looks to break into some space. Sam Davis with the boot again, puts the ball straight down the middle and is caught by Jason Harries, who in turn passes inside to his left to Hallam Amos, the former Dragon. Looks for a little bit of space and sees some forwards in front of him, but unfortunately is tackled just shy of the halfway line. And the Blues go about sorting their attack. So carry just over the 10-metre line. Ben Thomas launches to Dylan Lewis, who tries a little step and gets a lovely offload to Owen Lane, who jinks in and out and in, a few rolls and presents the ball nicely. Good quick ball for the Blues here. Turnbull, the next man to carry, and is cleared out quite clearly, but the ball is slowed down a little bit. Ben Thomas looks to the air. Jason Harry's getting after this one, hoping his height will play an advantage, but it was a little too long. We've been brought back for something here. It is a Dragons penalty for Blues players being offside from the kick chase. Sam Moore again, I think the man that's been picked up there. So just inside the Blues half, Sam Davis ripping up fake turf to see what the wind is like. Wonder how much he would have got from that. And yep, look into the corner. Great opportunity here for the Dragons to get an attacking line out inside the Blues half. And he manages to drill that one around 10 metres out from the Cardiff Blues line. So a fantastic opportunity here. Good line out ball for the Dragons, and they can really start to cause some problems early on for this Blues side. A shame that the Blues lost that line out there at the Mall. And the Dragons quickly, you can see straight away the attack mindset from the Dragons is fantastic. You know, and Iron Owen looking to find spaces on the outside, and especially when you've got the speed of wingers such as Jonah Holmes and Rio Dyer outside you, you're pretty sure to find space during this game. So we have a pause in play here. I think it's only a short one. The referee is encouraging the Dragons to make their way to the line out. Taylor Davis setting himself ready, making sure that he knows the call prior to Leon Brown delivering. Very little movement, and Joe Davis collects the ball cleanly at the front. Taylor Davis comes around to secure the rear of that driving maul. I think Corey Hill has got through the middle there, and he's disrupted that Dragons maul superbly. So the maul is collapsed, legally so, and it is a turnover ball. Cardiff Blues ball. Well sorted there by the Blues. Corey Hill came through and disrupted nicely there. And good work by the other forwards around him as well to get in there and to slow that ball down. And it will be a scrum to the Cardiff Blues around 10 metres out from their own line. Sean O'Farrell, good afternoon, buddy. Hope you're well. I think nearly all the players now got picked for the Lions scored. I think so. Yeah, I was looking at it last night. We were talking last night. Andrew Porter got a try for Leinster last night. Yeah, I think it's been a weekend for the Lions so far, hasn't it? Obviously, the hard working forwards, Alan Wynne, Ken Owens and Justin Tipuric didn't manage to get on the score sheet last night, but that was a tough old game to play in last night. The conditions weren't great throughout, and it definitely wasn't one for the purists of rugby then. It was very hard fought, very gritty. And as the game went on, I think both sides found it very, very difficult to find any sort of attacking platform. But the Blues have a chance to clear their lines here as they have a scrum in their own half. Look to get rid of this ball as soon as possible. Look, I'm excited that Ben Thomas is given more of an opportunity to play at 10. Even with Jared Evans there today, he has been given the nod. The scrum has gone down and is deemed collapsed by the Dragons' tight head there. So Leon Brown deemed the guilty party there. Rhys Carey getting one up on his Welsh squad opposition. And Ben Thomas, with the opportunity to claim the ball back from the line-out, will clear up to touch. But yeah, back to Ben Thomas. I think he is a really exciting talent. I think he was a little bit wasted last week at, last game out against the Ospreys when he played at fullback. I think he's far better when he takes the ball flat to the line. He's much more of a threat when he's right in the mix of things. I think when you put him at fullback, it is almost a waste of his talent, and especially with that exciting centre partnership of Max Llewellyn and Owen Lane around him, you'd hope that he can manage to get those boys into some space. But the Blues have set up a driving line out, about 10 metres outside their 22, and Jamie Hill goes for a very high box kick. Jason Harry's looking to put pressure underneath it, but very well claimed there by Rio Dyer. Boutrino looks to Moriarty, who carries hard into some Cardiff Blues forwards. Next man up there is Johan Davis, I believe that is. taking the ball as a forward. Josh Turnbull lying on the wrong side there, but the ball is available for Butrino, and he in turn puts the box kick up. Ben Thomas is underneath this one. Not claimed clearly, but deemed as a knock-on by the Dragons there. So it will be a Cardiff Blues scrum around 10 metres outside of their own 22. But yeah, good pressure put on there by Sam Davis and Rio Dyer on Ben Thomas. He had good cover around him though, Corey Hill, but the Blues will receive the ball at the put-in. Just having a little look at this on a replay now. And we've got another break in play here. Looks as though Sam Moore is receiving some treatment. And he's only brief, but he's back in the action now. So, second opportunity to have a look at both scrums, see if the Blues can assert dominance in the scrum or whether that first one was just a minor blip on Leon Brown's part. But lots of experience in our Dragons team now. You know, you've got Leon Brown in the front row. You've got the full support in the back row then of Moriarty, Wainwright, Tane Basham, who will more than likely be called up for the Welsh setup this summer. And the Dragons are building nicely. You know, they the highest success rate of the regions in the last few weeks. And they will look to try and press the Blues again. But 8 minutes in, the score remains 0-0. We await our first score of the game. Jamie Hill to put the ball into this scrum. Blues looking to get some go forward. Whistle is blown. And it is just a reset scrum. Hope this doesn't play too much as the game goes on, because I think with both sides that are out on that park today, you really want to see those have a go at each other in attack. We don't want to see reset scrums. Does not need to take a part of the game. I think that's something the World Rugby have got to look at, how they're going to try and eradicate this time where the ball is dead now. You know, we've had nearly a minute gone and we haven't moved from the same spot. Like, it's definitely something that needs to be looked at in the weeks and months to come. But that is another discussion for another day. So we prepare for the reset. And an indirect free kick this time, the Blues against the Dragons. Dragons not holding their weight moving forward for the referee's calls. So Ollie Robinson carries the ball. I think the referee is offering an advantage for not being 10. It is just another free kick. So be interested to see whether they go to tap or whether they go to the high ball option here. He's having a word with the backs and the forwards around him now. Ben Thomas. And the up and under goes up. Josh Adams hearing after this one. Doesn't take the ball, but puts a superb tackle in on Johan Davis, and it is straight over that ball. But the Dragons manage to get that one back, and they go to their forwards again. Moriarty, as always, one of the first ones offering himself to carry. Ball goes back to Sam Davis. Not the cleanest of passes, but he does get a kick away and is collected by Ben Thomas, who looks to attack down the right-hand side here. Lovely ball in one hand, finds a gap, offloads to Jason Harries, who in turn carries just outside the 22. Well cleared out by the Cardiff Blues. Butrino not rolling away quick enough for me there, but play goes on. Jamie Hill out to Ben Thomas again. Short pass to Ollie Robinson. Takes the ball into contact, and Jamie Hill quickly again. Ben Thomas, short pass to Owen Lane, who comes thumping into Jamie Roberts there. Real clash of the Titans there. Ollie Robinson offering himself again, straight up off the floor, straight back into the action. Quick pass to Ben Thomas, offloads it to Kirby Myhill. Looked as though he'd be held up there, but manages to get to ground. Short pass to Hallam Amos, who bumps off the first tackle of Butrino, makes a few extra meters. Dylan Lewis, the next man, thought he was in a hole there, but managed to be covered by Taylor Davis and Joe Davis as well. Ball gone backwards there. Thought that might have been a knock-on from a Dragon's hand. Not deliberate by any means, but a knock-on nonetheless. But the Blues have still got the ball here. Reece Carey goes straight through the middle of that ruck. A fantastic carry, making a good 8-9 meters there. Next one is Owen Lane, finds a space on the outside, goes into Rio Dyer, right out on the far right-hand touchline, and the Blues are into the Dragons 22. Jamie Hill out to Ben Thomas, short pass to Dylan Lewis, again involved heavily in this phase of play. Jamie Hill again looking for those options. Ben Thomas draws the man, looks for that gap, gets a lovely offload, and Josh Adams is in for our first try of the afternoon. The Lions are scoring again. Sean, they're in again, buddy. Josh Adams there, lovely by Ben Thomas. He held and held and held, and then he just gave that offload just at the last minute, and Josh Adams comes storming through for the first try of the game. Really nice build-up from the Blues in. Nice patient play. Used the forwards in midfield to suck the defenders in, and then the Blues were left with a 4-on-2 on that right-hand side. He held and held and held, and then the last minute, Josh Adams changed his running line and scores a lovely try under the post for our first try of the afternoon. So well done to Josh Adams as the Blues take a 5-0 lead in this one with the conversion to come, which you'd imagine that Ben Thomas will be able to convert. And considering the early stages, I think the Blues will be happy with that. 12 minutes gone. First try is on the board. Ben Thomas looking far more comfortable this week than he did at fullback last time out. Conversion is successful, and the Dragons lead, the Blues lead, by 7 points to 0. So 7-0. Let's have a look. Calix, great try. I think that is where we're going to see Josh Adams really effective on this Lions tour this summer. He comes in looking for work, but also in attack. He doesn't hang on to that touchline. He will come in field. Brandon, lovely try from Josh Adams. Fantastic, mate. Really, that change of direction last minute, I think, was really what foxed Johan Davis. But we are back underway here, and the ball is collected by Johan Davis at around halfway. Tackled by Jamie Davis, the man that put that kick in. And now Tane Basham with a strong carry there. It took Sam Moore a few seconds to wrestle him to the ground then. Tane Basham carries up. The ball is a little bit disrupted at the base. And it is a penalty to the Dragons. Not too sure what that one is for. I think he's giving it for a slap down, maybe. Let's listen to what he's saying. He's having a chat with Sam Moore again. That's the third penalty he's given away in this first 13 minutes. Needs to be very, very careful, otherwise he could be in the bin. Came from an offside position to intercept the ball there, and unfortunately, timing is poor. Penalty is given, and Sam Davis, I think, by the looks of things, he was looking for an option at the posts there. I don't know whether that was for offside, actually. It's a knock-on, deliberate knock-on. But Sam Davis goes for the posts and has missed from straight in front of the post. That is a strange one. Don't know what happened there. I know there's a little bit of a breeze around, but it doesn't seem to be a great deal. But there we are. Blues with the restart now from their 22. Ben Thomas gives it a good nudge, and Aaron Wainwright collects it on his own 10-metre line and looks to return with interest. Takes the ball just over the halfway line, and the Dragons are now inside the Blues half. Taylor Davis, the next one to carry that ball, and Buttrino gets a nice quick pass away to Sam Davis. Little offload to Joe Davis, originally held up by Corey Hill, but manages to make his way to ground. And Nyron Owen is tackled just behind the halfway line, so the Dragons back in their own half now. Blues defence really has to stand up today. I think they were tested far too many times against the Ospreys, and they didn't have the answers for all the questions the Ospreys were asking. But Hallam Amos comes from deep to claim the high ball that was put up there by Sam Davis, and the Blues are off again. Josh Turnbull pass out the back door to Ben Thomas. Ollie Robinson the next to carry the ball in. There were men outside, but it was a risky pass. And the ball is slowed down, so Jamie Hill will look to his forwards here. And Rhys Carey, the first of those to carry into contact, cleared out by 3 Blues players. Looking to go back to the left here, Kirby Myhill the next to offer with Josh Turnbull and Ollie Robinson for support. Ben Thomas has dropped deep here, but there's no real cover if he does go behind. Really high pass to Dylan Lewis there by Jamie Hill. He manages to take that one into contact nicely. And the box kick is up from Jamie Hill. Josh Adams has started a chase after this one. I think, yep, Jamie Hill's put a little too much on that one. Ball goes out on the full, and we will return for a line out to the Dragons. Just 10 or so meters out, or 5 or so meters outside the Blues 22. So there must be a wind playing a factor down there today with Sam Davis's missed kick and now Jamie Hill's box kick going straight into touch. Flags don't seem to be showing that much movement, but nonetheless, that ball did go out on the full there. So it will be a Dragons line out around 5 meters outside the 22. Corey Hill has taken a knee here, so medics are on to have a look at that. Gives me time to have a little look at these comments. Ben Thomas, really like the look at him. Could he force his way into the summer test? It'll be tough for him, I think, with the likes of Jared Evans and Callum Sheedy available. We've already mentioned Sam Davis as well, but I think next year, if he's given a lot more time to play, then I think he could force his way into Welsh selection. I didn't like the look at him at fullback. I think he looks far better at 10. He does give an option at 12 as an extra playmaker, but I think 10 is where he looks his most comfortable. Dragon Glassfire, hopefully the Lions beat South Africa. I'll be honest, and I've stood by this from the word go. I've got the Lions down to win this one 3-0. I think they've got the squad to do it. They've got players that are really in form, and should Warren Gatland select the correct squad for the correct match squad, then I think there's no reason why the Lions couldn't win this one 3-0. Argent, it is on Premier Sports 2, and I believe S4C will be showing it later on this evening, but at the moment it is live on Premier Sport, hence why we're doing a watch along, because not everybody has Premier Sport. It is a little bit of an expensive subscription, but we're back underway. Johan Davis with a long clearing kick, which Ben Thomas receives gratefully. Josh Adams in the midfield, looking for work, looking for space, and he does beat the first tackle there. Lovely clear out by Kirby Myhill. And the Blues are back underway. Ben Thomas with a pass behind the backs to Max Llewellyn. Goes to the outside where Ollie Robinson is there. Takes the ball right out to the touchline and carries well. Inside to Sam Moore. Inside again to Corey Hill, who carries the ball into the 22. No panic here from the Blues as they set up just outside the 22. Pass behind the back to Ben Thomas. It is knocked on in the tackle and Josh Adams picks it up. Lovely pass out to Jason Harries. Tries to take on Rio Dyer, but Rio Dyer tackles him well there. Josh Adams picking up from 9 and having a little snipe down that touchline. He is looking sharp this afternoon. Next man to carry is Reece Carey. Dragons look to have secured a turnover here, but the Blues have managed to rescue it back. Huge hit in midfield there from Joe Davis on Dylan Lewis. Jamie Hill, short pass to Corey Hill, and it is knocked on by the Dragons, the referee is saying. Is it a deliberate knock-on or is it a penalty for a deliberate knock-on? Just the knock-on. So a scrum centre field here for the Cardiff Blues in the Dragons 22. Lovely little bit of play on the outside there by Ollie Robinson. He used Sam Moore very, very well. Looked as though he'd give him the offload. Pulled the Dragons right out to the far right. And then Ollie Robinson just getting that ball back in field. Lovely little keep up from Sam Moore as he gets the ball inside to Corey Hill. And the Blues launching an attack. I think the Blues counter-attack has really looked sharp so far. Looking here potentially at a deliberate knock-on from Jamie Roberts. I think he's committed to that tackle there. So personally, I don't think that they should go back for a penalty for that. I think the Blues would prefer the scrum in the position they've got anyway. So 7-0 with 18 and a half minutes on the clock. Blues looking comfortable. Josh Adams looking extremely sharp in the loose, looking for work. They are taking a look at this. They are looking at whether this is a deliberate knock-on. I think it's on the Jamie Roberts pass. Or are they looking for a late hit? I don't really know what we're looking at here. Oh, is he looking at arms? Oh, let me turn it up a second and see if we can listen in. Just look at the wider picture. I just want to see an overlap. There was an overlap. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a penalty. You can see that an Owen is out there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mike, that's your best angle there. That's fine. Plenty of cover, but the penalty, deliberate knock on just outside the 22. There are 5 Blues players out there against the 2. So It's deemed that Jamie Roberts has knocked the ball on deliberately there. Nothing more than just a penalty, though, due to the fact that there was plenty of cover out on the right-hand side. So he hasn't stopped the try from being scored. Jamie Roberts looks perplexed by that one. But the ball is on the ground, and the Blues deciding what they're going to do here. Excuse me, hiccup there. And Ben Thomas is about to line this one up for a kick at the post. So thank you very much for joining this afternoon, guys. If you are just joining us, we are around a quarter of the way through the game. The Blues currently lead by 7 points to 0, but are just about to take a penalty, which is just out in front of the post, and you'd be pretty confident that Ben Thomas will nail this one, which he does, which means that the score is now 10 points to 0 in the Blues' favour. Score building nicely now, and the Blues really starting to find their feet in this game so far. But as I mentioned, thank you very much if you are just joining us. This is just a watch-along. Due to the game being on Premier Sport, it is copyrighted, so I am unable to show the game. However, I am doing as much commentary as I can of what's going on in the game so that you guys know what's happening. Obviously, because Premier Sport is quite an expensive subscription. So if you're joining us on Facebook, please make sure to like and follow the page whilst you're here. And if you are watching on YouTube, please make sure to like the stream and to subscribe to the channel as well. We've got a lovely little community growing on both platforms so far, and I'd love to see some more of you join in that. So back underway, and the Dragons looking to build some attack here. But it is a penalty against the Dragons. It's given against Josh Reynolds there for crawling across the floor after the tackle has been completed. And an easy exit again for the Blues. Discipline has been a problem for the Dragons early. Any chance that they get is proving extremely difficult to get any sort of foothold. So, Premier Sport is pretty expensive and pretty poor, but at least has every game of the Pro 14 on it. I agree. At least they have got every game, but you've got to say the coverage of it. I'm not just so much talking about the actual quality of the images, because that you can't say anything about that. But the one thing you have got to say is that I was speaking to a friend of mine, Brandon, he may still be in the chat, or I'm not sure. But watched the Blues against Benetton back probably a month or so ago now. And the coverage of the game started 5 minutes before kickoff. And as soon as the final whistle blew, the coverage stopped. So it's by far not the best coverage of rugby. I think BT Sport is a far better offer. Even though you want to watch your home team, which is the reason I have Premier Sport, it is not my favourite subscription I have. But the Blues are underway here. They win the line-out ball, and they look to attack down this left-hand side. Pass not going to hand there, though. Reece Carey out on the far left-hand touchline. Ball not going to hand, and the play breaks down. So the Dragons will get a line-out just inside the 10-metre line of their own half. Hallam Amos there, it was a nice flat pass, but Reece Carey just couldn't get his hands around that. Far too many players in a very small channel there. You had 4 men within a 10-metre channel. And Reece Carey probably not the player you'd want to see out on that far right-hand side. Smile on his face, knew that it was an easy one for him to claim, but the Dragons claimed the line-out ball through Matthew Screech. And they look about trying to set them all up, but the Blues have done a really good job of disrupting that. The Dragons have taken it to ground. Mike Adamson blows up, and it is a scrum to the Blues. The Blues have done a really good job in this first 20 minutes at initializing that contact at the line-out and breaking that maul down. They haven't managed to get anything set so far, the Dragons, or get any sort of go-forward ball from the line-out. So it is a scrum to the Blues. Things looking really promising so far for them. So another scrum here. So we are 5 meters or so inside the Dragons' 10-meter line. Scrum far left-hand side of the field, just short of the 15-meter mark. So all of the field to the right for the Blues to play in. I'd imagine that they've stacked their backline over on the right-hand side. Again, though, referee having to reset the scrum here because it is just a mess at the moment. think the players will look to avoid the scrum at all possible costs this afternoon because it's looked like the place where you could lose some momentum this afternoon. Big test for Josh Reynolds this afternoon up against Dylan Lewis, who since he's come back from injury has started to look really, really good for the Cardiff Blues. So we engage, and there is absolutely no resistance from that Dragons front row there as the Blues just run up and over the top of them. Leon Brown smiling. I think he feels that the Blues are getting away with murder at the moment, which who knows the dark arts of the scrum nowadays. Sides just trying to get one up on each other. So, third reset of this one scrum. Dragons have managed to stabilise the hit on this one, but the Blues looking to go about their work. And he's given a penalty against the Blues. For Carey was stood up there. So Rhys Carey penalised there for standing up at the scrum and driving in at an angle. So the Dragons get a chance to clear that pressure. This is what I mean with the scrums at the moment. You can't really say which way it's going because there's no real inclination as to who is the main culprit. I think both sides have committed multiple sins at the scrum now. And I think the referee is just picking up on the first one that he can think of. But yeah, blue scrum does look to be dominating, but whether that's legally or illegally, it remains to be seen. Line-up ball comes in and it is overthrown, and Kirby Myhill clears up at the tail and runs into Buttrino. Jamie Hill looks to the forwards now running around. Seb Davis takes a step and powers into Matthew Screech. Oh no, I think that's Ben Carter. It is indeed Ben Carter, so Matthew Screech must have left the field. Didn't get any sort of notification from that unless I missed it, but the ball goes up in the air. Johan Davis collects well and is tackled in turn by Owen Lane, one of the chasing players. Buttrino outside to Ben Carter, who carries into contact, and Dylan Lewis is in over that ball, and he is rewarded with a penalty. Superb positioning from Dylan Lewis there. Managed to get a really strong position over that ball. First man in, first man jackling over it, and it is penalty to the Blues, who will, of course, as of next season, become Cardiff Rugby once more. Or just Cardiff, okay, dropping the Blues from their name. Interesting, we had a discussion around this, myself and Brandon from BS Rugby, with Gareth Evans, former British and Irish Lions from the 1977 tour to New Zealand. And he was talking about the term, Cardiff Blues. Where did the Blues actually come from? It's such a superfluous title. So head over to the 3bod Rugby channel, guys, if you haven't already. The full interview is up there, and he does give a detailed breakdown of where do you think the Welsh Rugby Union is going wrong with the regions at the moment. So I would encourage you to head across there, and I'll drop a link down into the chat later on of the link to the 3bod Rugby group. But play is taken up to around the 10-metre line. Sam Davis clearing there, and the Blues will have the line out. Lost the line-out ball there. Again, another overthrown line-out, and Ross Moriarty claimed that at the tail prior to Sam Davis's clearance. So both sides making mistakes at the line-out. So Kirby Myhill eyes this one up and is claimed by Corey Hill, goes to the middle this time, and the Blues launch straight away. Jamie Hill out to Ben Thomas, who shows and goes. He had the option of Sam Moore outside him, but decided to go alone and is brought down by Tame Basham. Jamie Hill passes to Owen Lane, who looked like he slipped in the approach to collect that ball, so he lost a lot of pace there. Tame Basham very quickly up there, but Blues looking to attack. Dragons not rolling away there. So, yeah, another penalty for the Cardiff Blues. Dragons not rolling away quickly enough from that breakdown. Leon Brown, the culprit, it deemed there. Wayne Pivac and Dean Ryan sat not far apart from each other. Dean Ryan doing a fantastic job with the Dragons in recent months. He really has turned their fortunes around in both the league and now, obviously, of course, in the Rainbow Cup. But another penalty to the Blues. Penalty count growing for both sides very early on, which they wouldn't have wanted to see. So, What's happened there? I think Ben Thomas has missed touch here and it's gone dead. Yep, Ben Thomas has put that one dead. So mistake there, went for a little bit too much. I'm not dead against that option, and obviously the wind is playing a factor as well. I'm not dead against him going for it there. Just unfortunately, little inaccurate there, and the Dragons will now thank their lucky stars because they now have an opportunity to launch an attack just shy of the halfway line here if we can get this scrum sorted. Kirby Myhill coming up on that one, saying that there's something going wrong here. So another reset scrum. Let's have a quick look at. Oh, we'll leave the comments just for a second because it looks like we're going to get back underway in a second. They really need to sort this out soon because it is killing what is looking like a really exciting game. It's just not being given a chance to open up yet. I think we've only had one real succession of phases put together, and that was by the Blues prior to Josh Adams going over. So fingers crossed the referee can get a hold of this game and quickly because limiting the potential we've got available here. But short ball to an Iron Owen, who indeed passes on to Jimmy Roberts. Sam Davis with a flat pass out to Rio Dyer. The Blues defence up very quickly then, putting lots of pressure on. Ollie Robinson is in over that ball very quickly, but deemed to have gone straight off his feet. So another penalty at the breakdown, and the Dragons will look to clear to the touchline. Couple of your comments. Oh, hey Ben, how are you, handsome? I'm very good, thank you, Rugby Geeks. How are you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Premier Sports is not the one. I go with Super Sports and VPN. I've tried a few of them. They're not the best. I think sometimes the signal just drops out. I need to look into it a little bit more because unless the Pro 14 move away from them next season, we're really in some trouble. I fully agree with you. As a Benetton fan living in England, we barely ever get coverage longer than 5 minutes, which goes on over the lineup. Couldn't agree with you more. And I was annoyed for both sides, obviously because the Blues had won. You would want to have a little bit of analysis after the game. Nothing of the sort. And then obviously we're just short on coverage for the Welsh regions. The Welsh regions, Scottish provinces, just think they don't get the respect they deserve at the moment. But Dragons have set up attack here just inside the Blues 22. Tane Basham carrying hard into that Blues defence. And quick ball, Jamie Roberts carrying next. Brought down by Josh Turnbull. Blues don't compete there. They look to fan out in defence. Lovely short pass from Taylor Davis there as he gives the ball on to Tane Basham. Dylan Lewis again looking to get that turnover, but unfortunately just going off his feet. Sam Davis steps inside the oncoming Owen Lane tackle, and Ross Moriarty goes charging through. But I think Ollie Robinson has turned this ball over for the Blues. And a penalty is given against Ollie Robinson again here. I'm not sure what the problem is with that, personally, but there we go. Thoughts on the SA games? Watch the Sharks and the Lions was enjoyable. I hope you're not. I know you're not with this idea, but give it time. It's not that I'm not with the idea. And I think that anything to grow the league is massively important because the league, as we know, Brian O'Driscoll's pointed it out, various other people have. The Pro 14 is, to quote a friend of mine, a shower of shit. So something needs to be done. And if the South African sides do it, then fantastic. I'm more than up for that. The only thing I see is that obviously this is going to place more of a financial implication on the regions that are running short on money, the Scottish provinces, the Welsh regions, the Italian sides, because they're going to have to travel out to South Africa 3 or 4 times a year, which on top of what they're currently paying, it's not really what they want to be doing. If the standard of rugby improves, though, and we get more attractive sponsors, then I'm definitely up for the idea. I used to love watching South African sides in Super Rugby. I was a Blue Bulls fan from the time I was probably about 12 or so onwards, and I first introduced to Super Rugby. A massive fan of Victor Matfield when I was growing up. So I'm not against South African rugby coming into it. I understand that it was going to happen for the longevity of the game due to the fact that their time zones match up better with the UK and Europe than they do with New Zealand and Australia. But at the same time, it's just one of those things. It's just the part of me that's used to things how they are, and time to start adapting and bracing for change. But I'm not against the idea. I just think that it'll take time to work. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what these sides can do in the Rainbow Cup. I watched the tail end of the Bulls game yesterday, and there were some nice looking players there. They had a really interesting winger. I'm going to see if I can find the report from that in just a minute, because he looked really promising. As did a few other players. I know Dwayne Vermeulen got 60 minutes under his belt yesterday for the Bulls. And it's important. I was reading, interestingly, I read the rugby paper every Sunday morning. And very interesting in there this morning that they were discussing Victor Matfield worried that the South African side is short of second row options at the moment, apart from Mostert. The other three line-out options, Snyman, Diaga, and Etabeth, are all out at the moment with injuries. So it'd be interesting to see what happens around that second row position. But the Blues have the ball here. It is in a pressure situation. They are on their own try line, basically. And Jamie Hill clears off the left foot, manages to get that ball just shy of the 22-metre line. So Dragons with a promising chance here to attack the Cardiff Blues towards the tail end of this first half. We've got just over 6 minutes to go as Ross Moriarty steps out into the back line for this next line out. Be interesting to see whether they use him as a decoy runner or whether they use him as an option. Claimed nicely at the front. Taylor Davis, short ball to Jamie Roberts, who was brought down well by Josh Turnbull. Butrano with a short pass to Wainwright, who spins out to the first challenge. And again, the Dragons attacking, making good yardage here. Butrano into an Iron Owen. Johan Davis coming around the back there. Going back to the right-hand side now with, couldn't see who that was there. And it is a turnover. Dylan Lewis with his second turnover of this first half. Taylor Davis taking the ball into contact, and before the approaching Ben Carter could clear out, Dylan Lewis was in there and in a secure enough position to claim the ball back. So a nice pressure reliever there for the Blues as they were starting to come under some serious pressure from this Dragons team. Good tackle, low tackle from Ollie Robinson, allowed the space for Dylan Lewis to get in and over the ball, rolled out of the way so that it was a legal enough challenge, and the Blues have a chance to clear for touch here, which they do. Takes the play to midway between the Blues' 22 and 10 metre line with just under 5 minutes to play. So a little bit of discussion going on between the Blues forwards at the moment, as Kirby Myhill is down with a bloodied nose. He's taking quite a heavy knock there to the nose by the looks of things. Bit of cotton wool up there and a little bit of Vaseline, you'll be fine. No problem whatsoever. Canaquenan, imagine the Pro 14 themselves having to allocate finances themselves, especially travelling with CVC around. I imagine and thought this through, but I don't know. We will see. I think if CVC are having more of an input into the Six Nations, naturally that is going to filter down to the Pro 14 in some way, shape or form. Whether they actually allocate funds without the sponsors, I think they need to give it time to see if it's going to work. But if the sponsorship comes and the money is there, then it will allow the league to grow. But I just hope it means that there is more of a level playing field rather than the rich getting richer. That is brought up to a level playing field. But a penalty is given against the Dragons here for collapsing Cardiff Blues driving maul. So another penalty, which will see the Blues clear into the Dragons' half. I'm not in love with the SA joining the Pro 14. It's becoming a World Club Cup. Wouldn't surprise me as well if they try and shoehorn a couple of Japanese sides in there before long or something like that. Who knows? Before long, it'll become the Multi-Nations Cup. But that's just the way people will chase the money. When I'd rather see the travel cost invested in making the league more watchable. I agree with you. I think if my teams weren't playing in it, I would much rather watch the Guinness Premiership, or the Gallagher Premiership, sorry. Far more exciting brand of rugby being played there. Don't watch a lot of top 14, but I love watching the Premiership. But back to matters at hand, and the Blues have claimed the line out just outside the Dragons 22. A nice long driving maul here, and they've managed to splinter the Dragons, but they've taken it down themselves. So Jamie Hill passes to Max Llewellyn, who in turn passes to his centre partner, Owen Lane. Jamie Hill is in there quickly and offloads to Seb Davis. Takes the ball into contact, and the Blues getting closer and closer to that Dragons 22. Kirby Myhill the next man asked to try and get through that Dragons defence. Corey Hill carries low and hard with Rhys Carey for support. Jamie Hill to Ben Thomas. Flat pass to Seb Davis. Gets his hands free, but doesn't risk the offload. Ben Thomas, again, short pass to Hallam Amos. Gets his arms free, and Owen Lane is in some space on the right-hand side. Rio Dyer has knocked that on, I believe. So, yep, it will be a Blues advantage here. So, a free play. Just a knock on, though. So, they will be chancing their arm here to see what they can do. Jason Harry steps in at 9, offloads it to Jamie Hill, who puts the pass into Rhys Carey, changing the point of attack. Blues looking to go down this right-hand side again here. Jason Harry's the next man looking for that space. Cleared out well there by some supporting players. Dylan Lewis, great low tackle there from Taylor Davis. Really went at the shins almost, Dylan Lewis there. Corey Hill carries into Josh Reynolds, and the Blues still looking to try and make their way into the 22 here. Ben Thomas with a pass behind the back to Owen Lane. Josh Adams offloads. Josh Turnbull goes charging up the far left-hand side, and the Blues are 5 metres out now. Jamie Hill with a show and go. He's a matter of inches from that try line, but it looks as though the Dragons have turned that ball over, and they have. So that extra little roll from Jamie there put the Blues support out of reach. And we have a penalty to the Dragons. Canaquenan, the league definitely has to go. We're in danger of getting left behind by the French. I agree to an extent. I think French rugby as a collective has definitely got better over the last few years. If you go back probably 3 or 4 years, Toulouse were nowhere to be seen. They were a side that were really, really struggling. You had the likes of Clement Auvergne that have been superb for a number of years. Stade Francais, they were always at the height of French rugby and seem to be struggling now. So I don't think it's all song and game, but I just think the massive salary cap that the French rugby have is what's making them such an attractive option at the moment. It is just something that people want to watch more because they want to see the likes of Cheslin Colby. They want to see the likes of, Gael Fickou and all players like this. So it is something that they need to look at, but I don't think to use it as a perfect example. Blues managing to splinter. The Dragons driving all again here, and they've got absolutely nowhere with this. They've lost all the support at the front, but they managed to get the ball away, and the box kick is put up by Buttrino. Josh Adams jumps highest and claims that, though. And the Blues have taken the ball into touch there. Must have been close. We usually give out about the refs, but Craig Evans deserves a mention. I thought he was excellent, even if my team Munster won by miles. I know, I quite like Craig Evans. I thought he had a good game the last time out. I think he refereed the Dragons and the Scarlets game, and I think that was a really good game. Craig Evans is definitely one of the better ones. Ben Whitehouse is a waste of space. I think he just wants to be Nigel Owens' pet. But yeah, I don't know about for any of you guys that watch a lot of the Pro 14. Is it just me, or is the standard of refereeing in the Pro 14 appalling in comparison to the Gallagher Premiership? Top 14 to an extent. Penalty given against the Blues there. Thought they were going to make a breakaway there. But I think the Blues will try their very best here to take the Dragons in with nothing on the scoreboard. I think 10-0 is a fair reflection of this first half. The Blues have looked the better side at times, but discipline letting both teams down. A very low kick by Sam Davis there, and he's probably made about 13, 14 metres from where he was stood. But we will be taking just a short break for half time, just so I can go to the toilet, get myself a little drink. But do come back and join us for the second half of this one. Hopefully it'll start to open up a little bit, but as we usually see with Welsh derbies, they are usually closely contested for the duration. So one last attack for the Dragons before half-time. Jonah Holmes, first touch I've really seen from him this afternoon. Moriarty with a powerful carry through the middle there, beating Kirby Myhill. Ben Carter following up, carrying hard into Josh Turnbull. Lovely spin pass there as Tame Basham abrasively carries into the Blues' defence. The Blues' defence has done well to push up on the Dragons this afternoon and cover their inside very, very well. Blitz defence working extremely well. It is a penalty, though, to the Dragons. Not sure what this is for. And the Blues' penalty count is starting to grow at an alarming rate here. So they really should be careful and feel that the referee will have a word shortly. So Sam Davis is going to take the points just so that they go in at halftime with something on the board. So just whilst he lines this one up, thank you very much again this afternoon for joining me for this watch along. If you are joining us from Facebook, please make sure to leave the page a like and to follow as well. That way you'll find out every time that I'm going to either go live like this or that I've put a video out on my YouTube channel. And with that being said, if you are watching from over on YouTube, please make sure to like the stream whilst you're there and to subscribe to the channel as well. We're almost at 60 subscribers now, so we're almost towards that target of 100 by the end of the Lions tests this summer. So Sam Davis with a chance to put the Dragons on the scoreboard, which he does, which means that the score at halftime is 10 points to 3. So 10 points to 3 at halftime. And here we have it. The first half is over. So just going to take a quick break now. Just going to go and get a drink and go to the toilet. But when we come back, we'll have a look at the stats from the first half and the tail of where this first half has gone. Thank you very much, guys. And we'll see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back, guys. It is halftime in this one. The Blues leading by 10 points to 3 in what was a half that was dominated by mistakes, by ill discipline, but lots and lots of physicality. We're just seeing in the highlights now some of the big hits that are going in and big carries. So let's have a little look at the stats from that first half, because I feel that this will be one that is dominated by discipline in the most point. So let's go down and have a little look. So here we go. Stats for this first half. So obviously just the one try from Josh Adams, which was a lovely, lovely delayed pass from Ben Thomas. and a nice out to in line from Josh Adams as he crashed over for the opening score of the game. So in terms of attack, Blues have had 55% of the possession, which, considering they are only 7 points in front, you would have hoped they'd have gone a little bit further ahead than that. 3 clean line breaks, which they'll hope to take advantage of in this second half. 8 defenders beaten and 8 offloads, which I think will be the way that they unlock this Dragons defence here. The Dragons, in turn, they've managed to beat 6 defenders themselves. And they really look to get into this game a little more in the second half. Discipline costing them in key areas. Quite balanced in terms of the territory and where the game is being played. I think it's fair to say that just about the majority has been played in the Dragons' half. But I think that's mainly down to the fact that anytime we've seen any sort of phase play thrown together, it has been the Blues that have been the team that are doing that. 69 to 57 tackles. Considering the Blues have had the majority of the ball, they've had to make more tackles, which goes to show how much time they're spending with ball in hand. Both missing a small amount of tackles, but the Blues defense up at around 92%. Dragons just below at 88. 5 turnovers, 1. And I think the first half we saw Ollie Robinson and Dylan Lewis really stake their claim as why the Blues are the best turnover side in the Pro 14 at the moment. Not a lot of kicking in this one in comparison to what we saw last night, but this is where for me, this is where the big problem is. Okay, we've seen 16 penalties in that first half, 9 for the Blues and 7 for the Dragons. You think as a coach, usually the magic number is around 10, and for the Blues and the Dragons, they are both very, very close to that 10 mark. So obviously the carries is an interesting one for me. Owen Lane getting involved quite heavily at 13, and I think he likes that opportunity to come in and to play in the midfield. And I think when you've got Jason Harries and Josh Adams on the wings, it shows in a more abrasive centre in Owen Lane coming into the midfield looking for work. But Ross Moriarty, he's carried very, very hard. 2 defenders beaten for Ben Thomas and 3 for Rio Dyer. I think I want to see a little bit more from Rio Dyer in the second half. Sam Davis, not really using him to the maximum of his potential in this first half. But this is the one I want to look at. Josh Turnbull, a whopping 12 tackles in that first half. 3 of those 5 turnovers for the Blues coming from Dylan Lewis. So that's a great return from the tight head in the first half. And tackle percentages, Ben Thomas up at 100 as well as Leon Brown. So great stuff from both sides there in that first half. But as they're talking about now, they've got the coverage up on the screen now. The big thing they're talking about is sloppy Dragons penalties, allowing the Blues to get a foothold in this game and allowing the Blues to dictate where they play the game and at what pace. Be interesting to see. You're right, Reds are trash compared to refs are trash compared to Prem refs. We're very lucky to have world-class refs. I was watching the Bath game yesterday, and even in that one, the refereeing standard was fantastic. I think, I think the big thing is their clarity. They are so clear in their calls to players. Players know what to expect. Players know what to do with certain referees. But I think we've heard about it a lot recently that some referees, they have different interpretations on how the laws look and how they expect the laws to look. But ultimately, it is something that we just have to get over. We're lucky to have referees in the game that are able to officiate. But it is unfortunate that the standard seems to be so poor in the Pro 14. And I think that shows in the fact that we don't have any sides competing in the finals of Europe, unfortunately. So we have just gone to the ad breaks now, just prior to this second half starting. Just interestingly, just whilst we've got a few minutes now, obviously Scarlets ran out as victors last night over the Ospreys. But immediately after that amazing win, which would have given such positivity and good news amongst the camp, some breaking news came out. And I don't know if anybody has seen it. It has been well publicised around our Twitter. But it's up on your screen for you now. Glenn Delaney has left the Scarlets with immediate effect. It was deemed that next season he was going to go on and become the director of rugby. But he will not be doing that now and has indeed parted ways with the club. He did release a statement, which I will try and flag part up, which is just here. I'll zoom in a little bit on that one so you can see it a bit more. So today I announced that I'll be leaving the Scarlets. It has been a pleasure to coach this fantastic club, and it's been the most difficult of seasons with the global pandemic. creating many challenges and issues that the staff and team have dealt with incredibly well. I leave with great memories of 2 wonderful years out west. We've enjoyed some great times in the first year we were able to share supporters being there. I won't forget European games away to Toulon, Bayonne and London Irish, whilst travelling support was simply unbelievable. Our Champions Cup match against Bath this season was one I know the travelling faithful would have loved. So, unfortunately, Glenn Delaney will not be a part of the Scarlets moving forward next season. Dwayne Peel, interestingly, who would have been joining the Blues next season, opting instead for a head coach role down... opting for a head coach role down at Parker Scarlets instead. He now has a big task on his hands. So, be very interesting to see how that one goes. So, let's just have a little quick look at the teams once more and see who we might want to see in this second half. So, looking at that starting lineup for the Dragons, you've got to say that, considering the talent that they've got out in the back line, I think I've seen Jonah Holmes with ball in hand probably once. Rio Dyer is just a talent that's itching to get moving in the second half. So Sam Davis has really got to start putting the Blues under pressure and getting these guys involved in the play, because at the end of the day, they're very talented players and very exciting players that could cause the Blues a lot of trouble. If we move to the benches then, lovely to see the likes of Harrison Keddy back involved. I think he's been a talisman for the Dragons this year, and he really has led from the front on multiple occasions where I've watched the Dragons. But I want to see Jack Dixon involved. I've followed Jack Dixon's rise since he started very, very young, involved in the academy process at the Dragons with him at the stage I played alongside him. Extremely talented player. Been plagued by some terrible, terrible injuries, which has really stopped his progress with international honours. But it's good to see him back playing regular rugby, having just signed a new contract down at the club. So interested to see if he can get on in the second half. Looking at the Blues, though, I think you have to say there's 2 names on that bench that I cannot wait to see in this second half. Jared Evans and Willis Halaholo. And I'm sure at some point we will see both of them come onto the pitch. Be interesting to see, obviously, Ben Thomas. You want to see him given a chance to improve, but when you've got the firepower of Jared Evans on the bench, you want to be seeing him involved at some point during the second half. Likewise with Halaholo, who will make way? Will it be Max Llewellyn, or will it be Owen Lane, or will it be both of them? And Ben Thomas move out into midfield? We will wait and see. Excited to see Christian Dacey on the bench as well. Been looking forward to him coming back for a while now. So fingers crossed he can get on and get some minutes under his belt. But the sides are back out, and we're just about to get underway for the second half here at the Cardiff Arms Park. The Dragons playing from left to right in this second half, and they kick off with a long, deep kick down into the Blues 22. Jamie Hill has time and gets a lovely clearance away off his left boot, which takes play to around 15 metres outside the Blues 22. The Welsh coaching setup all present for today's game. I wonder who will be the key players they will be looking at potentially getting involved in the Welsh setup over the summer. Will they look to the experience heads of Moriarty, Wainwright and Roberts, or will they look at the youngsters? But first attack of the second half, and Rio Dyer comes in off his wing looking for work and finds a bit of space. Ball goes to ground there. No advantage being played for anything, so it is just a knock-on. So a silly mistake there by Ross Moriarty coming into that there. Ball didn't go to hand, and it is easy turnover possession for the Cardiff Blues. But nice there. Sam Davis bringing Rio Dyer in off his wing. A lovely pass over his left-hand shoulder, and the winger was in some space. Don't think that pass was meant for Moriarty there, but at the same time, I don't think it's a great pass from Buttrino. It puts him under all sorts of pressure. So the Blues will have a scrum here early in this second half. We have a pause in play here. I don't know whether the referee is looking at something potentially. They're over by the screen. So have the Dragons mentioned something that they want to be looked at? Let's have a little listening. What are they talking about?
One challenge. Hello?
So it is the captain's challenge? No.
Corey Hill on Tane Basham.
So they've asked them to have a look at the shoulder charge from Corey Hill on Tane Basham. For me, The arms are wrapped. Not greatly, but there is an arm wrap. You can't say that he hasn't tried to wrap there. Do get the feeling this is a bit of a wasted opportunity here. It is late. It's more with the chest than the shoulder, if anything, but he has got his arms both wrapped around. Don't think the referee thinks it's a shoulder charge either. So there we go. So the Dragons have lost their captain's challenge. Obviously, the ruling with the captain's challenge is if it is deemed successful and the referee overturns the decision on field, then the side can keep their captain's challenge. However, as in this instance here, if the captain's challenge is overruled by the referee and the TMO and they deem that there has been no foul play there has been no foul play, then they lose that captain's challenge. So the Dragons have used and lost their captain's challenge here due to the fact that Corey Hill is not deemed to have put a shoulder charge into Tame Basham. So we restart with the scrum. Jamie Hill passes back to Hallam Amos, puts a large clearing kick down the middle of the field and is collected by Johan Davis. Rio Dyer goes charging into the Blues. No looking for space there, just running low and hard. Blues told to release the man there. And they do so. Next man to carry is Josh Reynolds. Corey Hill is in over that ball, and he has got the turnover. So penalty to the Cardiff Blues. Good start. And the defence has looked far better from the Blues today. Really, really assured. They look like they've got, with those big experienced heads in there this afternoon, Corey Hill coming back into the side, Josh Turnbull coming back. They really have got a little bit more of that assertiveness in defence that we're used to seeing from the Blues. And a penalty which is kicked into touch. I think, if anything, the wind is against the Blues in this second half. I think we saw with Ben Thomas's touch finder in the first half where it went dead. And Sam Davis's kick went a little wide. I think the wind is against the Blues in the second half. But they have got that 7-point advantage, which they will look to extend. So, line-up ball claimed at the front by Seb Davis. Ollie Robinson gets out to Jamie Hill, and the Blues look to go through their back line. Owen Lane goes into an Iron Owen, releases the ball quickly. Good counter-ruck by Jamie Roberts, and it is a penalty to the Dragons. Blues going off their feet. Penalty after penalty in this game. No real chance of any fluidity to the game due to the fact that we're having constant stoppages in play. Well tackled by an Iron Owen. Owen Lane looking to take him on the outside there, but the youngster having absolutely none of it. So Sam Davis with a lovely penalty, and he finds their way midway into the Blues 22, 3.5 minutes into this second half. Just whilst we get set up, let's have a look at some comments. Canna Quenan. I saw 3 new law variations over the weekend. Not sure I agree with them. The 50-22 in particular. Why did the defending team get the ball when it's held up over the line? I'll be fair, I think the Ospreys looked extremely annoyed last night when that was given against them. The ball was held up. So for those of you that don't know, the ball being held up over the try line now does not result in an attacking scrum to the side with the ball. It now is a goal line dropout for the opposition, the defence. I think it looked very, very strange. Really didn't understand that one. But never so mind. And the captain's challenge are worried this will usher in more back chat from players because they got more power. I think that's where the referees have got to stand up and say, this is my decision to make, and I will speak to the captain and the captain only. Obviously, the players will feed into the captain, but I think if the players start chatting to the referee, it's just going to become like football before long. Although football have some great examples the rugby could follow from, I don't think that is one. But the Dragons with a promising attack here, they've getting some lovely quick ball, pass behind the back, finds Sam Davis, and he is chopped down by Max Llewellyn. Buttrino into Leon Brown, good strong carry. Jamie Roberts, the next man offering himself up from 5 metres out. How many times have we seen him do that for Wales? Wainwright takes the ball into contact. He was always slipping there, so never any real foot in. Leon Brown coming around the corner. Big, strong ball carrier. An advantage given against Josh Turnbull there for going off his feet. Buttrino with a little snipe looks to go underneath Carey and Turnbull, but not successful on that instance. Jonah Holmes with the ball in hand. Sam Davis with a flat pass out. And Iron Owen Jamie Roberts over his shoulder to Rio Dyer. Man, this boy looks exciting when he's got the ball in hand, Rio Dyer. Butrino is on the outside here. Ball into Johan Davis. It's gone a little bit sloppy, so we will go back for the penalty there against Josh Turnbull. But the Dragons will feel much more confident now that they've managed to put some phases together and put the Blues under a great deal of pressure there. Oh, no! The Dragons have gone to take the penalty quickly, haven't knocked the ball on in the process. That is a major, major mistake there. Why on earth would you tap the ball so close to the line and lose that penalty now? Looking at something here, potentially a tackle from Owen Lane on Butrino. Nothing deemed by the referee. They would look in to see if it was a potential shoulder charge from Owen Lane on Butrino, the Dragon scrum half. Deemed not to have been a problem for the referee. And we restart with the scrum after the knock-on from the quick tap penalty. So a couple of minutes to forget for the Dragons. Oh, so they are having a look at it now. The TMO saying that they want to check it. Yeah, you've got to say he's going into touch anyway, so I don't know why Owen Lane has felt the need to go in with a shoulder there or to even put an effort on him. As long as he's just there, the ball is going to be passed infield regardless, and that's a waste of it. That's silly. That is silly from Owen Lane. I don't think there's a lot in it, but again, it's not a tackle he has to make. He does wrap his arms to an extent, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think he could potentially be seeing the 10-minute sin bin here. So now they're looking to see whether he's made contact with the head. I think Owen Lane could be going off here, and I think it could be red. It's a silly challenge. The conversations between the match officials seem that it is going down the line of contact to the head. So the way the referee is talking, this is a red card. So Owen Lane will play no further part in this game due to it being a late challenge. He's made contact with the chin of the player. Owen Lane leaves the field. And you've got to say, didn't need to make that tackle. The ball had gone. It was a very, very silly decision to make. And he's now cost the Blues because now they will have to play the remaining 35 minutes of this second half with 14 men on the pitch. So Sam Moore comes off, and I believe it is James Ratty that has replaced him. So James Ratty getting his second run out at number 8 for the Cardiff Blues. Be interesting now to see whether the Blues play open for the remainder of this game, because obviously they are a man down. But Sam Davis dinks the ball into the corner, and they will restart the game with a line out 5 meters out from the Cardiff Blues line. But disappointing for the Blues that that red card for Owen Lane, I think, is going to cost them massively, considering how strong their defence has been. They will now have to work twice as hard in that midfield. So the driving lineup, which I've got to say has had very little success for the Dragons so far in this game. Brought to ground by the Dragons. Jamie Roberts takes the ball and is tackled by Max Llewellyn. Not immediately, but he does bring down Roberts eventually. Next man up is Moriarty, who's tackled short of the line. And it is a try as Taylor... Oh, no, it's not Taylor Davis. Reece Lawrence. He's just come onto the pitch and has gone over for the Dragons. So the Dragons have their first try of the afternoon. So 10 points to 8, the current score, with the conversion to come. It was just good, abrasive carrying by the Dragons, and a well-timed run, you've got to say, by Reece Lawrence, the replacement hooker. And he dives in underneath the tackles of the Cardiff Blues. And with the conversion successful, the score is now 10 points all. So we have draw game. And now you've got to say the Dragons have really looked to exploit that one-man advantage, especially with the firepower they've got in that back line. So on comes Willis Halaholo for the Cardiff Blues. Interesting to see where he's come on, or who he's come on for. Halaholo comes onto the field for... We don't know who he's on for. Can somebody put in the chat what the ruling is with the red card situation now? I'm not sure whether that'll come into effect now. I'm not sure what the ruling is, but I know there's something definitely around the red card area. Freddie, how was the Ospreys game yesterday? Not too bad, mate. They lost, but it was a tough old game. The weather was not great at all. But Hallam Amos puts up a high ball, and it is claimed by Aaron Wainwright. Offloads the ball off the ground to Ben Carter, and the Dragons are attacking again. They're full of confidence now that they know they've got that extra man, and they just have to find where on the field that man is. Tame Basham has left the field and has been replaced by Harrison Keddy. Great line by Johan Davis. And now the Dragons are starting to roar. Lovely short pass to Sam Davis. Flat pass to Aaron Wainwright, who's coming in at full speed there. Not the cleanest of presents, but Sam Davis looks in behind the Blues. That has stayed in the field of play. Hallam Amos under all sorts of pressure trying to claim that, but indeed has done very well. And we'll look to get to the forwards here to try and secure some ball so that it can be cleared. Little pass up to Reece Carey as the angle is improved for Jamie Hill so that he can get the and it's a penalty against the Cardiff Blues. It is a penalty to the Dragons. They look to go quickly again there, but I think they'll go to the corner. They'll be full of confidence now, having their last line out so successful. Red card is 20 minutes, then replace the carded player. So the Blues will... Oh, the Dragons have gone quick. We'll talk about that in just a second. So Leon Brown carries in. Looks as though he's been held up here. Well done to the Cardiff Blues. They're managing to hold it up. So Owen Lane was carded around the 45-minute mark. 45 minutes, let's call it the 46th minute, meaning that in the 66th minute, they can bring on a replacement for him. Any Dragons fans that are in the chat, be interesting to see what your thoughts are on that, because obviously it's the first time that I've seen it. Canna Quinn, you said you saw all three, so I'm not sure what game that happened in. What sort of an impact did that have on the game overall? So the Blues will be down to 14 men for the next 20 minutes, it seems. Kirby Myhill leaves the field and Christian Dacey comes on to replace him. So full Welsh front row, full Welsh capped front row now on the pitch. As the Blues restart with a scrum here, 5 metres out from their own line, under an immense deal of pressure. And we'll look to try and clear their lines as far as physically possible. So the scrum seems pretty steady at the moment. Ball is out to Ben Thomas, and off that right boot, he puts the ball into touch. Doesn't get a great deal of distance there, probably around 15, 16 metres, but not a lot there. Think I saw in the Munster Ulster game, didn't like it. Yeah. What's your opinion on the Lions squad? When we get a break in play, Fred, we'll have a little chat about that because I've got the squad loaded up ready. Few shock inclusions for me and really still can't get my head around it. Ulster had a man carded, then brought on another man, but it made little difference. I suppose the game was already gone by then. But in a game like this one where it is much tighter, you wonder whether that could have an impact. But the Dragons on the attack here. Butcherno runs straight into the back of the referee there, tries to get through quickly and is blocked by the referee there. He's got a massive smile on his face. Butcherno not happy. That's obstruction. Give him a yellow card. No arms in that tackle whatsoever. They were done by his side. But Dragons ball to restart this game, and you've got to say the Dragons will probably be happier with that because now all those Blues forwards will be sucked into one place. They are packing down with a full 8 as well, so there is a gap somewhere in that back line. The Dragons have just got to work out the best way to possibly exploit it. But it's a mess at the scrums again. Both front rows guilty of causing problems at that scrum time this afternoon. So we repack down. Butcherno prepared to put the ball into the scrum here. Does so, and the scrum seems a little cleaner, but the Blues trying to get an edge in. Aaron Wainwright comes off that base of the scrum, gets his pace involved, and the Dragons are but a few metres out. Harrison Keddy, the next man, looking to take that ball up. Corey Hill trying to make a nuisance of himself, trying to counter-ruck. It is an advantage to the Dragons as well, and things are starting to look rather ominous now for the Blues. Greg Bateman carries and is held up but we will go back for the penalty. No goal line dropout here due to the penalty advantage. And he is going to have a chat to the Blues, so perhaps this will change the Dragons' decision. Sam Davis looked as though he was preparing to take a shot at goal there. However, due to the fact that the team are now on a final warning, perhaps they will go and try and exploit the Blues in some way, shape or form. Right in the middle of the field, so Sam Davis is going to have to kick it quite hard to get it to the touchline regardless. Very narrow angle. But yeah, Corey Hill, he was trying to make a nuisance, but came in at the side. Didn't come through the gate to cause that disruption there. But the Dragons looking really organised there. Their driving game is starting to prove dividends. The Blues are struggling to stop that from going on. But he's taken the 3 points. Very, very surprised at that decision, considering the pressure that they've been putting on. I thought that we would have seen the opportunity taken by Sam Davis and his boys to go for it. But nonetheless, the Dragons take the lead in this one for the first time by 13 points to 10. Got to say, since the second half started, the Blues haven't really put any attacks together. And obviously, since the loss of Owen Lane, there has been a real problem. So, Okay, Canaquena, and also saw the 50-22 in Glasgow versus Edinburgh. Didn't like it. Edinburgh deserved an opportunity after attacking the line for so long, only to give up the ball. I agree with that goal line dropout. But sorry to interrupt. Jared Evans is on the field now for the Cardiff Blues, and he is the one that gets this game back underway. Well claimed in the air by Ben Carter there, under a lot of pressure from Jason Harries. But the Dragons set up the ruck here and clear into the Blues half. It is claimed by Hallam Amos, who comes in field, looking for some space and beats his first man, takes the ball back up to around the halfway line. Here come the Blues now. Can they put something together? Jared Evans gets tackled man and ball. Did not help there. The pass by Josh Turnbull was almost behind him. Dragons putting a lot of pressure on at the breakdown, but it has gone to really slow ball now for the Blues. Ball is taken to ground. Jamie Hill ordering his forwards around a little bit just to try and see the best way to get out of the half here. And does so with a high hanging box kick. Think this one's going out on the full as well. And it is. That's the second time now that Jamie Hill's box kicks has gone straight in. But the Dragons have taken it quickly. Maybe caught the Blues napping here. Pass to Jimmy Roberts. Claims it above his head. Jonah Holmes beats. Josh Adams is through the first tackle. Ollie Robertson trying to get a turnover, but he's well cleared out by the Dragons boys. Halaholo makes the tackle on Johan Davis. Josh Adams trying to hold him up there, but too many Dragons boys in support to bring him back down to ground. Leon Brown goes crashing over the game line. Sam Davis with a short pass off to Ben Carter, who's the next man to try and breach that Blues defence. Lovely pass, Jamie Roberts. Josh Turnbull got to be careful there. Short pass up to Wainwright. Ben Carter, another carry, been heavily involved since he came on. Greg Bateman comes charging around the corner, bounces off the tackle of Josh Turnbull. Gone straight off their feet there, but the Blues deemed to be moving out of the way. Poor pass by Sam Davis there, put Jamie Roberts on the back foot, but they still have the ball. Jonah Holmes with a step and a small little gap there, so the Dragons are but 5 metres out now. Really starting to grow into this game, the Dragons, and the Blues have got to be careful because this game could easily get away from them here. Ben Carter. Rio Dyer in a bit of space, covered well by Jared Evans there. Good defence by the Cardiff Blues fly half. Aaron Wainwright passes shortly onto Ross Moriarty. Ollie Robinson is over that ball, but the referee is not doing anything about it. Said that he was off his feet. Keddy carries in 5 metres out from the Cardiff Blues line. Sam Davis, round the back pass to an Iron Owen. Short pass to Johan Davis. Beats Hallam Amos on the outside, but cannot make it. Just a few metres short. And it is a penalty to the Cardiff Blues. Well done there to Josh Adams for the turnover. Right on their own try line to relieve what would have been an inevitable try. Great scramble defence by the Blues there. So, just shy of the 60-minute mark. It is still 13 points to 10 in favour of the visitors, as the Blues will look to clear their lines here. If you are joining us just now, thank you very much for doing so. Good afternoon to you all. You've joined us at the perfect point of the game because this game is in the hanging balance at the moment. The Blues led at halftime by 10 points to 3, but since then have had very little ball and very little opportunity to attack. So the Dragons have come right back into this, and just shortly at the 45-minute mark, so just over 10 minutes ago, Owen Lane was red carded for a shoulder-to-head contact on Buttrino, the Dragon scrum half. So the Blues are down to 14 men for the next 7 or 8 minutes, which is an interesting one. It's the first time I've seen it this weekend. But game has restarted here with the Cardiff Blues line out. Not the cleanest of wins, but a few changes for the Blues here. Josh Turnbull carries into contact, but is driven back by Ben Carter. And on for the Blues now is Ellis Bevan, the replacement scrum half, and he box kicks out of trouble. Josh Adams hearing after this one. Oh, Jonah Holmes did well to evade Josh Adams there because he was coming with a real head of steam. Josh Adams had to chase back there because Jonah Holmes had made some lovely meters there. And here come the Dragons again. Sam Davis lost a little bit in the midfield there. Lots of runners around him, but no real options of attacking threats. Halaholo brings down Harrison Keddy as the ball is presented neatly, but the Blues try and counter. It's a little too late as the Dragons come away with the ball. Buttrino with a short pass into Ben Carter. Round the back to Sam Davis. Puts the ball onto that right boot because he finds some grass. Josh Adams has to go hearing back after this one. Not given chance to get back up, but the Blues have managed to secure it, and Hallam Amos will look to clear off his left boot. Not the cleanest of strikes at all. And the Dragons will have a line out 5 meters out. There's a real problem here for the Blues. They cannot get out of their own half and they cannot build anything whatsoever. So just whilst we have a short break here, there's some treatment to Josh Adams. Hope it's nothing too serious as he's gone down on the turf of the Arms Park. But if you are joining us this afternoon on Facebook, thank you very much for doing so. Whilst you're here, if you haven't done so already, please make sure to like the stream and to give the page a follow and a like. That way, anytime a new video comes out or anything new is going up on the channel, you guys will be the first to know. And if you're here joining us from YouTube, thank you again very much for doing so. Please make sure to like the stream and to give the page a subscription. It is free to do so. I left a little video on at halftime showing you how to do so. Please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Lots and lots of exciting things coming up. Recently interviewed a former Welsh and Saracen second row, if you can try and work out who that is. And also some exciting things coming up on the channel in weeks to come. So you're going to want to stick around for that because you don't want to miss that. Josh Adams is back up on his feet, though, in the meantime. Doesn't look as if it's anything serious. Looks like something with his neck. Bit of deep heat on it. No problem with that whatsoever. Freddie, think Kerr or Cooney should have gone. I agree. I don't think the scrum halves that have been selected are the best that Warren Gatland has available to him, considering the scrum halves that are in form at the moment. Does worry me slightly that we haven't got that sort of creativity around the base. You know, you've got Gareth Davis, it'll be a nugget. You've got Ali Price, who on his day can be very promising, but no real standouts for me for that test as yet. So the Dragons have the line-out ball. It is passed infield to Jamie Roberts, who beats the first tackle of Jared Evans, although he's hanging onto his shins for all that he's worth. Ross Moriarty's the next man carrying in almost over the Blues line. Ben Carter, the next man to try, and is tackled by Josh Turnbull. Ball is slowed down slightly and the Blues have reset in defence. But there is an advantage there on the outside. Oh, we've paused in play here. The ball went down to ground. It was just a knock-on deemed by the referee. Yeah, he is trying to make the tackle. I don't think it's deliberate. No, both arms are wrapping there. Both arms are wrapping there. I'm sorry. I don't know how you can deem that as a deliberate knock-on. He's trying to tackle the man. So the Blues are going to have a yellow card as well here. So now they're down to 13 men. Things go from bad to worse for the Cardiff Blues as they're now down to 13 men for the next few minutes until they can get a replacement on for Owen Lane's red card. Very, very concerning times for the Cardiff Blues, who were dominant in the first half, but since the second half has begun, the full 20 minutes, I don't think they've touched the ball inside the Dragons' half for longer than a few seconds. So a real pressure point here in the game. The Dragons, you feel, if they're going to win this game, they have to come away with something here, because every time they've attacked so far, all they've come away with in the second half is the one try. for 20 minutes, basically, of solid possession inside the Blues half. Brad Thayer comes on at the loose head for the Cardiff Blues. And the scrum has not been one of the strong points of this game, unfortunately. So we pack down for this scrum. Thayer's gone to ground, but he's back on his feet, so well done to the loose head there. Back around the back. Rio Dyer off his wing. In all sorts of space there, and almost gets over there. More worried about the players outside him than inside him. Jonah Holmes on the outside. Hallam Amos tackles him, man and ball. And it is a turnover for the Cardiff Blues. Again, on their own line, managing to get that ball turned over. Massive, massive turning point in this game, you hope, for the Cardiff Blues. But if you're the Dragons, what on earth is happening? Two massive opportunities to score and losing out due to lack of precision at the breakdown there. Johan Davis has tried to come in, but to be fair, Josh Turnbull's got down lower, he's got down faster, and he is lifting that ball clearly off the ground. So Jared Evans looks to relieve the Blues' pressure, as for once in the second half, they are outside of the 22. So with just under 18 minutes left of this one, you've got to say still with a 3-point game, it is in the hanging balance. There is a 2-man advantage currently for the Dragons for the next 2 minutes or so. You'd think for the Blues here, do they try and kill the clock down until they can get that replacement on for Owen Lane? I'm not sure. So the line-out is set up and the driving line-out gets moving. Christian Dacey leading that one at the back. And they'll keep this ball in there as long as it can stay moving and try and get a penalty out of the referee here. But they are moving forward. Christian Dacey steps inside and Christian Dacey makes a lovely little break there as the Blues take play just up to the halfway line. Comes out to James Ratty, next man to carry into contact, makes a few meters out to the right. Short pass back to the left. Jared Evans onto Josh Adams, cuts inside, finds a little bit of space there. Good opportunity here for the Blues to try and put some pressure back on the Dragons. Pass is made inside to Christian Dacey again, who started that off with his little break from the driving line out. Jared Evans takes the ball to the line. No options there as the Dragons were up in defence extremely quickly there and looks to put pressure on the young Cardiff Blue. Turnbull with the next carry. Jamie Roberts looking to try and cause some problems there at the breakdown, but the Blues still have the ball. Christian Dacey steps inside the blitz defence and takes the ball up to the halfway line. Halaholo tries to get those dancing feet going. Another slap down there. And if you're going to give a yellow card for that one, referee, considering there was one in the first half, surely you've got to be thinking the same there. He's saying because it's the middle of the park, it is not a yellow card. But that one for me is more deliberate than Jason Harry's was. For me, he's made no effort whatsoever to catch that. He doesn't care if the ball gets to the outside or not. So Jared Evans kicks the ball down the touchline and takes the Blues just outside of the Dragons' 22. Got to have said this is the first time that we've really seen in the second half the Blues had the opportunity to attack the Dragons from inside their half. Brad Thayer delivers the call to Christian Dacey as we set up the lineup here. Claimed at the front by Seb Davis, long reaching arm, but is not presented cleanly, and the forwards driving onto it have knocked that ball on. So a wasted opportunity there for the Cardiff Blues as they give possession straight back to the Dragons, having had so little of it during this second half. Does well to claim it, but the present is so sloppy. I'm all for, the flamboyance of rugby, whatever you want to say. But for Seb Davis there, he's got to come down with the ball in two hands. He's just left it out there hanging with just one arm there. Sorry, that's not good enough, especially when you've had such little amounts of possession during the second half. You'd have thought the best thing that he wanted to do there was keep hold of that ball. So poor decision-making from, you've got to say, the experienced heads in this Cardiff Blues team, and they are now without the ball once more. So, scrum to the Dragons, about 5 metres outside their own 22. And the Dragons come away with it. Jamie Roberts out to an Iron Owen. the Blues defense is going to be so stretched in that back line now due to the fact they are currently missing two of their backline members. Moriarty carries strong. And Ollie Robinson, again, he's diving off his feet at the breakdown. That's the third penalty he's given away in the second half. And again, the Blues, as soon as they get any sort of opportunity now, they were outside the Dragons 22 a few minutes ago. Now we're looking at the point where they're back in their own half and Sam Davis has a chance to take 3 points. Blues desperately need something out of this game at the moment because they are struggling to string anything together in the second half. Ollie Robinson is lucky to be on the pitch. He's had a couple of penalties given against him now. He was on his feet originally, but as he goes off his feet, he actually slaps the ball out of Buttrino's hands. So you're surprised to see him still on the field. So Sam Davis lines up the opportunity from around 40 metres or so, 38, 40 metres from the Blues posts. A little bit of a breeze swirling around the park. I think the breeze is from right to left, so there's a bit of draw on this. It's a clean strike, and it is over. So the Dragons extend the lead to 6 points by 16 points to 10 over the Cardiff Blues with little under 15 minutes left to go. So Ben Thomas is back on the field as Owen Lane's replacement. So back up to 14 men. That is going to be Cardiff Blues ball with a line out 5 metres from the Dragons line. Sorry, I didn't talk much there. So from the kickoff, it was hanging up in the breeze. I think the Dragons boys thought that was going to go into touch. It dropped into the arms of Ben Thomas, who indeed went to pass to Josh Adams. Jonah Holmes managed to get a hand on it and slapped it back for the Dragons, but unfortunately couldn't claim it. Josh Adams hacks it into Moriarty, and he hoped it would have gone out to touch. But then in the end, the Dragons captain thought, enough of this, and kicks the ball off the park. So the Blues, from absolutely nothing, have a line out 5 metres out from the Dragons line. Corey Hill claims the line out and they set up the driving maul. A little upright for me, and the maul starts to crab over back to that left-hand touchline. But now they've got it started moving forward again. The ball is on the ground, and the Blues knock it on in the line out again. Really struggling to keep hold of their ball at all here, the Blues. So a wasted opportunity you feel there, and the way this game is going. Oh, okay. So it's a Blues scrum because apparently it's been knocked on by one of the Dragons who's tried to rip that ball out. The touch judge has come in and given that reward to the Blues. I suppose you could call it a reward. That decision towards the Cardiff Blues. So Kay is well past it. I know he's playing well, but you have to take Dan Robson over him. I'd take neither of them, I'll be honest. Dan Robson, he's okay, but we've seen it at international level, just not cutting it. Glad to see Hornswoggle didn't go, though. I think scrum half-wise was the hardest, and I think Ben Young's pulling out was probably the biggest talking point in terms of the Lions selection. But I just think, like Danny Kay, he hasn't been involved in the international setup and he's been playing well in the Premiership. I understand that, but I don't think that automatically gives him a place. I would have taken Cooney over the pair of them. So, Blues advantage at the scrum here. The ball is popped up to the scrum half and Halaholo comes charging in. Manages to keep his hands free, but doesn't get that offload away. So, Josh Turnbull is the next man carrying that ball in. Penalty to the Blues. Will they take the points just to take it to a 3-point game, or will they look to take it to the corner whilst they are here? Good solid scrum there, though. And again, this is the one area you feel the Blues could get dominance. But really liking the look of Ellis Bevan at the moment since he's come on. He's really started to speed the play up, and he looks like he's excited to get involved into this game. So, Blues have gone for another scrum. They obviously see that they're starting to get some dominance and some parity up front. Just hope this doesn't come back to bite them in the rear end, because with less than 10 minutes to go now, the Blues desperately need something from this visit to the Dragons 22. A matter of minutes away until they are up to a full complement when Jason Harries will return to the field. If they can get a converted try here and return with a 1-point lead from the yellow card period, I think the Blues will be absolutely delighted with that. So if you are joining us, thank you very much for doing so this afternoon. If you are recently just joining us, where have you been? But you join at a very important part of this game. The Dragons currently lead by 16 points to 10. The Blues receiving a red card, of which that has now been replaced. So Owen Lane was deemed to have made contact with the chin of Jason Harries. Not Jason Harries, of Buttrino, the Dragon scrum half, and he received a red card. Then a few minutes later, Jason Harries was yellow carded for a deliberate slapdown. So the Blues have been playing at one stage during this game with 13 men on the field. A free kick to the Blues this time as the Dragons are not controlling their drive. The fact it's not a penalty, though, if I was the Blues, I'd be extremely concerned at this stage, though, that this scrum could teeter one way or the other. You can't blame the turf because it's artificial. And the Blues have made 2 more changes. So, Dylan Lewis and Seb Davis leaving the field, being replaced by Will Davis-King and Teddy Williams. Interesting. At the moment, you feel the Blues are getting parity at scrum time. They take off Dylan Lewis. Jason Harries back on the field. So the Blues back up to 15 now. Dragons fans or people in the chat, I don't know what you feel about that, but for a game that you are starting to dominate because of the red card incident, and now the red card counts for nothing, where do you stand on that? So Ellis Bevan puts the ball into the scrum. The Blues are getting good go-forward ball here, and it is a penalty to the Blues, but they do have an advantage to see what they can get from this. It is a pick-and-go moment here for the Blues. Ellis Bevan looking to the forwards outside him. Goes into Will Davis-King. Finds the floor. Ellis Bevan pops up to Christian Dacey. Carries low and hard. Beats the first tackle of Joe Davis, but is brought down then by the man following him behind. Blues have taken the ball into centre field here and have started to stretch the Dragons' defence on that left-hand side. James Ratty, the next man to carry. Good, strong carry. Takes the ball less than 5 metres away from that Dragons line now. Ben Carter making a nuisance of himself in there. Next man carrying in is Brad Thayer. Makes a few metres. Leaves the ball for Bevan. Short ball. Popped up for Teddy Williams. And it's a try for the Cardiff Blues from absolutely nothing. The Blues have had a visit down into the 22 and they come within 1 point of the Dragons. 15 points to 10. Blues were playing under an advantage anyway, so they had the opportunity to play the ball through the phases and see what they could get from it. But a lovely, lovely little bit here. Brad Thayer carries the ball into contact strong. Ellis Bevan tries for a little snipe, but then a ball. Another out to inline. Sees Teddy Williams crash over and get a very crucial score for the Cardiff Blues here, as we are less than 6 minutes away from the final whistle here. And also, Josh Turnbull has used this opportunity to get in his captain's challenge as well. He has said that he has been, he's used the captain's challenge on himself and has suggested that number 16 for the Dragons, which is Reece Lawrence, has gone into him with a shoulder. So the clock is stopped and the officials will make their way down to the far end of the Arms Park to the big screen where they will take a look at this whilst the media team prepare the shot for them. But nothing wrong with the try. The try has stood and we are waiting. Jared Evans has the ball on the tee ready to take the conversion. It is a matter of whether this could be more than just a try and a conversion for the Blues. Could they be playing the rest of this game with a one-man advantage? So here comes the footage now as the officials gather around the big screen. So where is Josh Turnbull here? I'm not sure what we're looking at exactly there. Yeah, there's no arms in that. The arm that he's actually made contact with is on the floor. There's not much in there. It is a shoulder, but I wonder what, because he's asked for it after the try has been scored, whether the restart will be a Blues penalty on halfway. Oh no, it's not that collision they're looking at. But Greg Bateman does go in with the shoulder there. You can tell because he actually puts his hand on the floor as the shoulder goes in. So we'll wait to see what the decision will be from this. So it's not this incident here. He did say that the number was 16. I can see him just here now. There is a huge hit on Josh Turnbull there as he ends up on the floor and he didn't even have the ball. Yeah, interesting that Josh Turnbull took it just after his team had scored. Granted, the fact that there isn't long left in this one for him to get the chance to use it. But there it is. There's contact there. It's a swinging arm. But where is the contact point? Yeah, this is the only thing. We saw this yesterday in the Ospreys game. It was more a chance of taking the gamble that it could potentially pay off and you could end up with a one-man advantage. But there is definite contact made with the head there. There. So let's listen to what Mike Adamson, the referee, has to say. Oh. He's come flying in. He's made a collision. It's a swinging arm. That is direct contact, shoulder to the head. Unfortunately, Reece Lawrence looks as though he could be leaving the field here. Regardless of whether it's yellow or red, it will be for the remainder of the game. Because you look at the way Josh Turnbull goes down, a man that doesn't take being hit very lightly. But it is another red card, which means that now, in a game where the Blues received a red card and have now had that player replaced, the Dragons now have a red card themselves and will face the remaining part of this game with 14 men on the pitch. So, Reece Lawrence leaves the field. What will the restart be here, though? It will restart, I believe, with the Dragons kick-off. Yeah, it will be because obviously the penalty or the penalty offence was committed prior to the try being scored. So the conversion is over and the Blues take a slender 1-point lead. 17 points to 16 against the Dragons with little under 6 minutes to go. The kickoff is taken eventually by Ollie Robinson in centre field and the Blues look to launch an attack out of their own half. Good carry there and tackle made by Ross Moriarty, who's had a really powerful game this afternoon, you have to say. Another carry made there as Will Davis-King makes a carry out of the 22. Blues will look to kick this now, surely. It's got a little messy around the breakdown. So, Ellis Bevan goes to the box kick, gets that lovely kick off his left boot, and takes play down inside the Dragons' half. Josh Lewis from fullback comes attacking and is tackled in turn by Ben Thomas, who's on as the replacement for Owen Lane. Christian Dacey's over that ball, but there is no clear release deemed, so I think that was a very, very close one there. But penalty to the Dragons on the halfway line. Will Sam Davis fancy his chances at the post from here? Like we said, we think that the breeze is behind him, so he could potentially have the legs. Wow, right, let me catch up on some comments. So, but why is Jared Evans not going? Give him 4 years, he'll be back. Really dangerous rule, the so-called yellow card, not a big fan. I think it's shown in this game now that due to the fact that the way that the Blues are now back up to 15 and the Dragons down to 14. This red card law is nonsense. Do the dirty and only get partially punished. And I think the Blues are definitely victims, recipients of that today. Imagine they do the dirty on the wife and she leaves you for 6 months. Sound heavenly. Checking potential shoulder charge. Yellow, maybe. And then Brandon actually watched it again. And then it's a red, head contact. And yep, definite red for me. Wow, big. Sam Davis has missed the kick as well. So the Blues remain 1 point in the lead. He's not happy with the strike he had there. The Blues have got to be careful here. They have a 1 point lead, and their discipline in the second half has cost them dearly. So Jared Evans waits to restart this game with a 22 dropout. Takes play just about up to the halfway line. Moriarty and Jonah Holmes not communicating clearly there. Ross Moriarty eventually takes the ball and is brought down by a combination of Corey Hill and Ben Thomas. Babos with a really rough pass there into Ben Carter and takes him backwards 3 or 4 meters. Tries to make up for it by making a little snipe. Greg Bateman goes into scrum half now. Passes out to Ben Carter. Blues not committing to the breakdown now, not risking another penalty, trying to make the Dragons play from their own territory. Jamie Roberts with ball in hand steps inside the blitz defence of the Cardiff Blues and looks to take play up back towards our halfway line. Moriarty with a show and go and takes play inside that 10-metre mark. Nice short pass, potential bit of crossing there, but no harm done. The play goes on. Babos, Harrison Keddy sits Ellis Bevan on his backside and takes play up over halfway. The Dragons back on the attack. Jamie Roberts running that out to in line that he loves to do so often and takes play even further into the Blues half. Harrison Keddy again, the next man to carry. Short pass in and is taken down just short of the 10-metre line. Sam Davis, nice wide pass to Jack Dixon, it looks like. Long pass to Rio Dyer, who literally took that standing on the touchline. Gets a lovely offload to Jonah Holmes, who was supporting him on his left-hand side. Ross Moriarty looks outside him, but decides against it and is tackled by James Ratty. And Aaron Owen knocks the ball on in midfield, looking for an option outside him, but ends up losing the ball. So it is a scrum to the Cardiff Blues with 2.5 minutes on the clock. I've left it up on the screen, the comment, but that was a big decision. I'm calling it now, 84th minute drop goal, Dragons win. I think the Blues will win this scrum, maybe play 1 or 2 phases afterwards, and then try and put the Dragons back on their own 5 or 10 meters out from their own try line. But this is where the Blues have got to show their professionalism. Now they've got to manage the latter stages of this game as if it was a cup final, and we know exactly what happened when the Blues recently faced London Irish in the Challenge Cup. They fell apart in the final few minutes. So let's see how this one finishes off. But again, thank you ever so much for joining this afternoon, guys. The viewers figure has been steady all the way through, so I'm really grateful for having you all along for the stream this afternoon. But before we finish up, please make sure it'll only take you a few seconds. Head over to the Facebook page at Rock and Roll Rugby and make sure to give us a like and a follow. That way you'll know any videos that are coming out or any live streams that are coming up before you by myself or some other people that I'm planning on working with over the coming weeks and months. And likewise, if you're watching over on YouTube, a couple of seconds now whilst this scrum gets set up, go to the YouTube page, Rock and Roll Rugby. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe to the page. And again, you will be notified every time a new video goes live, in which there will be one coming tomorrow evening. So stay tuned for that one. So, scrum ball, just under 2 minutes on the clock. Blues in possession. Jamie Roberts actually going into the back row here for the Dragons. So they've got a full complement showing that the Blues are starting to get dominance up front. Commentators curse now that they give a penalty away, but the scrum ball is clean. Ellis Bevan needs to get that away and quickly, and does to Jared Evans. Takes the ball flat, gives to Halaholo. Halaholo with an in-to-out, getting those magic feet working and beats a few defenders. Still going, Halaholo takes the ball up to the Dragons' 10-metre line. Ellis Bevan inside to James Ratty. Strong carry, but tackled by 2 strong Dragons tacklers. I think Jamie Hill is back on for the Blues here. So Ellis Bevan must have left the field, or he might have replaced someone. Jared Evans had options outside him there, but the blitz defense from the Dragons caught him out on that occasion. So the Blues go to the slow ball. Less than a minute on the clock now. So is it a case that the Blues are just going to try and see this one out now? Short pass to Turnbull. Takes the ball up over the halfway line. 34 seconds left on the clock here. Christian Dacey, next man to carry into contact. Blues have got to be careful they stay on their feet here and don't give away a penalty, which could bring on a late surge by the Dragons. James Ratty makes a few meters there. 20 seconds left on the clock. Will Davis-King, the next recipient of the ball from Jamie Hill. Blues have stayed on their feet really well there, okay? Dragons are looking to counter, but the Blues keep hold of the ball. 5 seconds left on the clock. One more carry should do it. Christian Dacey takes the ball to ground, and that is time. Jared Evans takes the ball off the park, and the Blues take the victory by 17 points to 16 against the Dragons. That late Teddy Williams try enough to give the Blues their first win in the Pro 14 Rainbows Cup. Disappointing for the Dragons, who had large amounts of possession during that game. And you've got to say that they would be bitterly disappointed that they didn't get one up over the Cardiff Blues in this game. So, final score today is Cardiff Blues 17, Dragons 16. As we see in the players shaking hands now, was a very, very good game. Like I said, the discipline played a massive part at the early stages of the second half as the rain starts to come in down at the Cardiff Arms Park. So let's have a quick look at the stats as they finished up, because I'm pretty sure they would make for interesting reading for both us as viewers and for the coaches when they review these games next week. So let's get an update. According to this, the game is still going ahead, but we know that it has ended. So, final score, 17 points to 16, 2 tries to the 1. Teddy Williams getting that late try in the 72nd minute for the Cardiff Blues. In terms of possession, we saw a massive swing in the second half. The Dragons having far more of the ball and making far more threats when they had the ball in hand. They also beat more defenders, 20 beaten to the Blues 13. Very, very good and promising signs for the Dragons. Although they have lost here today, for me, big, big improvements from the Dragons, and they really are starting to threaten in every game they are involved in. Offloading games started to work in patches for the Blues, but again, no real consistency in attack. Territory we saw in the second half, I think I said for 20 minutes, I don't think the Blues left their own 22, never mind their own half, and that reflected in the fact that they had to make nearly double the amount of tackles that the Dragons did. So a very interesting reading there, looking at that stat there. Tackle success for the Blues stayed up above 90% for the game. They missed 20 tackles, which is very, very strange for this Cardiff Blues outfit. But as we know, at certain points in that second half, at one point they were down to 13 men. But for probably 20 minutes of that second half, they played with 14 men on the pitch. 8 turnovers to the Dragons, 4. A big facet of the Blues game, which they tried to make the most of at every given opportunity. However, today just didn't work on the whole. Lots of penalties given away at the breakdown for players going off their feet. Not a great deal of kicking. It was an enjoyable afternoon of ball in hand rugby. And man of the match has been given to Josh Turnbull. I think thoroughly deserved today. But those penalty counts, 17 for the Blues and 11 for the Dragons. I think 11 for the Dragons, considering they were sat at 7 at halftime, is pretty good. But for the Blues, that second half penalty count really did cost them at times. And they did very well to get a win out of that game. So Ben Thomas, leading point scorer from the game for the Blues, 5 points and 11 for Sam Davis. Try a piece there. Ross Moriarty with a big carrying afternoon with 14 carries. And he definitely put his hand up as a leader for the Welsh team as we go into this series of summer tests against Argentina and potentially one of the other countries coming across, whether that be the USA, Japan, or I can't remember the other one, but there's other sides that could be potentially there. A few defenders beaten. Halaholo, I think he just made those 3 defender beaten stats in one run. Another one for me that stood up today, Aaron Wainwright. He is looking far more threatening now as a ball-carrying number 8 as opposed to a 6. I think he is a real promising threat coming off the base of that scrum and will be vital to Wales' success in the summer. Ollie Robinson, 30 tackles in that game. Wow, what a stat that is. 30 tackles made. I don't think I've seen a figure that high for a number of weeks now, but well done to Ollie Robinson. Did give a few penalties away, but 30 tackles is nothing to be sneezed at. Dylan Lewis with the 3 turnovers we saw in the first half, and Sam Davis getting one. I'm sure he'll be bragging about that to the forwards in the second half. And that is that for today's game. So Blues managing to pick up their first win of the tournament as they beat the Dragons at home at the Cardiff Arms Park. Big win for the Blues. How big a win is this for the Blues? I think there is still lots to work on, but I think if you look at it, at how good the Dragons were against the Scarlets, I think they will take a lot from that, and they will take a lot of confidence into their game against the Scarlets next time out. As for the Dragons, I don't think it's cause for concern. I just think the discipline was an issue in the first half. I think the second half they were far better, but it is just at that final stage. They're just missing that final finishing touch to sort these tries out. There were 2 opportunities in the second half where they were literally turned over on the Cardiff Blues line. And you're thinking, if you want to compete as a side at this level, you really have to start looking at finishing those chances. But nonetheless, a very good win for the Cardiff Blues, and they will progress to their next game against the Scarlets with lots and lots of confidence, having seen lots of things going well. I think Josh Adams went very well this afternoon. Nice to see Halaholo back on the park as well. So lots to be thoughtful about, but also a lot to think about in the meantime as well. Little things that need to be sorted discipline-wise. I think they kept hold of the ball in good patches really, really well, but ultimately, a win is a win, regardless of how ugly or how pretty it comes. And they come away with the win. Great stream, buddy. Thanks for making work a little less boring. You're more than welcome, mate. Anything to make a work day go faster, no problem whatsoever. But that is where we're going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much for joining. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are here from YouTube, and to like and follow the page if you are on Facebook. And I look forward to seeing you for the next one very, very soon. In the meantime, guys, have a great Sunday, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye now.